Hi, everybody. Day 8 of art journaling every day. And today we did the live show on Art Joy is Sharing. Chelsea and I do this each week on Thursday. And today we were following the Pick a Stick prompts from Art Joy is Sharing. And the prompts had the Pantone color of the year colors, the yellow and the gray. So I thought gray, well, that's appropriate for an elephant, right? So I have this awesome stencil. It's a Nat Callback stencil, and I'm just going to push some of this. I mixed some gesso into a gray tone and am putting that onto a piece of card. And I'll do a couple of these because you never know when you're going to need an elephant, right? So following the prompts for the month, this was one of the colors, and we always have two colors. So the yellow was the other color, and the gray, of course. So I'll set those aside to dry, clean off my stencil and my tools, and move on to my journal. So the first prompt on the list was octagon. And Shell and I both looked around. We didn't have anything in an octagon shape. So first thing we did was to go to YouTube this morning and figure out how to origami fold an octagon shape so that we could use it in our art. I was talking about Unsplash and how you can find images to use in your art and alter them and, you know, turn them into something that you want to recreate. So I have all of these papers that I pulled out today. I was looking at colors. I really loved the vibrant yellows and oranges and reds that were in here. You know, these are just pieces of paper that I pulled from my stash thinking I would need some things to use on this journal page. I'm going to grab purple first because purple and gray and yellow make a nice combination. So I have my journal page. I have some yellow paper that I'm thinking about using in the background. I'm talking about maybe collaging an elephant on there. You know, there's lots of different ways that you can approach this. I'd started sketching out something on my page and decided not to do that. And now I'm looking at the octagon, and I had cut a few octagons, and I thought, well, I'm going to use that octagon as a mask to create a border on this page. So I originally thought I was going to use this yellow paper on my page, but ultimately it didn't work out. So looking at the prompts, thinking about that whole octagon thing, and pulling out this little piece that I'd cut earlier, and I'm looking at my inks, and I'm going to grab some Distress Oxide and Wilted Violet, get a tool, and then just use that octagon to mask some of the area of my page. Creating a little texture, and this will take a little bit of time to get around. So I've gone all the way around, and once I start looking at this paper on there, I'm thinking, that's really not working for me. I need to do more with that border. I'm going to maybe silver emboss, and then I thought, no, I don't want something that chunky on there, so I'm looking for a stencil, and I have this border one that was a 9 by 11, and I'd cut it into pieces, and I end up grabbing some silver ink and just ink through the pattern on the stencil. Just adding another layer of texture on here. This is some Delicata silver ink. The pad's a little bit dry, so I'm trying to get it to go through. It's not going through well. It's just not my day for ink. So I start putting it down with the pad and see if that's going to work a little bit better. One of the other prompts was brush. So I have my brush that I'm using, and now I'm showing how to fold the shapes that you need to make the octagon. So it's kind of making a kite. You're folding first one way and the other way in a square, and then you're folding from corner to corner of the triangle, and then you're folding into the middle of the triangle, and then you're cutting off the wings, and oh, look there, an octagon. So, yeah, we just watched a YouTube video, and yeah, origami octagon. It comes right up, and you'll be able to see how to fold your paper. So I like this border. I'm thinking it's working out pretty well. It's kind of hard to get into the crevice there on the edge, but I do like the silver on the purple, but you know, going back to that yellow, it is just too overpowering for that page. So I'm changing my mind about it. I'm going to add some yellow pigment ink to the border with a brush and see if that helps a little bit. So I've got this other stencil that I've cut down in a brush, and I'm just going to apply that yellow over the top, and I do like that. Just adds another textural layer and another color, because we need that yellow on our page for sure. So blending it out, you know, smoothing it out a little bit. And you got to dry it off because it's a pigment ink and they stay wet longer. Pigment inks are opaque inks. They're not like water-based, which are more translucent or transparent. Pigment ink is opaque and it's full of the pigment for the color, and it stays wet longer. Yeah, you see me, I'm still trying to use that piece of paper. It's just not working. So I'm going to get that stencil of the elephant back out, and I'm going to play around with that. I end up mixing up a little bit of paint with some of that black to gray it down. It's kind of a cream tone with the black in it, and I'm using the stencil to just give the outline of another elephant in the back. You know, they're social creatures, they travel in herds or packs, so I thought it should be appropriate to have more than one elephant on the page. Going to blend in a little bit more black to make it a little bit deeper for the next one that I'm putting on. And we're just layering them together here. And the next prompt was erase. So you'll see what I end up doing. I grab another stencil in the mask or the stencil of the elephant, put that over the elephant, add another stencil, and then lift with a wet rag, pull some of that paint off of the surface. So there's my stencil. And I'm just going to pull that back, and that's going to erase the paint from the surface. I'm going to continue that, doing the same thing on each one of these elephants that's in the background. If you like any of these stencils, be sure and check out Stencil Girl products. They are all over there. This elephant one is pretty cool because you get 3 images. You get the elephant, the mask, and then also an elephant that has a design in it. So now I'm going to glue down the original elephant that we had made. I'm going to use a glue stick and some wet adhesive just to make sure that it's going to adhere to my page really well. There may still be a few wet spots and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to make sure it adheres to the page really well. And I'm going to use Stabilo All pencil to highlight around that image just to help it, shadow to get it off of the page. But the next prompt was text, so I'm just using a text stamp and stamping some text into the background. And that's the end of the prompts from the Pick-a-Stick challenge. So now I'm just going to do some of my finishing touch work, and we'll get you some final shots, and that'll be it for our elephant page with Pick-a-Stick challenge for January 2021.